Hasta aquí el espectáculo de hoy de Córdoba Ecuestre. Mañana veremos más. Otras partes del espectáculo volverán en la sesión de tarde y también para cerrar la sesión de noche en la jornada de mañana. Córdoba Ecuestre, el IFEMA Madrid Horse Week. Son las 4:26. En apenas 4 minutos arranca el trofeo Grupo Eulen, prueba del concurso internacional de doble.
Well, a very good afternoon and a very warm welcome here to Madrid. We are live with you for the FEI Dressage World Cup round over these coming 2 days. It starts here, as you can see, with the FEI Dressage World Cup Grand Prix. We have 14 different riders from 7 different nations, including some real stars and certainly some Spanish stars mixed in as well. Very exciting couple of hours ahead of us here as the famous Madrid Horse Week brings dressage to life once again. It is the 10th anniversary of this great show here in the Spanish capital, and we're looking forward to every single stride that is going to perform out there in front of the judges. We have the likes of last year's Freestyle World Cup winner here, Helen Langehanenberg. The German superstar is part of the equation, and in fact also German rider Frederic Wandres is back as well. He won the Grand Prix here 12 months ago, went on and finished 4th in the freestyle. It can turn around, we know that, from one day to the next, but it sets things up for tomorrow. And as you can look down that list, there's plenty of amazing horse and rider combinations. Morgan Barbancon going late on there, the French rider that used to ride for Spain. She rode in the Olympic Games for Spain, of course, back in London 2012. Very much so in recent years under the French flag and going very well with Sir Donna Hall. Joao Victor Maria Oliva, the last out, bringing a little bit of South American flavour to this Madrid Horse Week. So plenty to enjoy. The judges down and around the arena, all getting set and ready. At E we have from Luxembourg, Christophe Ombach. At H for Spain, Mariano Santos Randaldo. At C for Germany, president for the class is Elke Elbert. At M, Mariette Saunders van Ganserwinkel for the Netherlands. And at B for Spain is Juan Carlos Campos Ebrebano. So we look set to get things started here with this fabulous next leg. It'll be the fourth leg with the freestyle tomorrow of the Western European League. Benjamin Vendel currently at the top. We've seen some brilliant performances already over the three legs so far, with the win last time out from Ingrid Klimke in Stuttgart. And you can think as well to the likes of the defending champion that won it in Lyon, when we saw Jessica von Berde-Vendel coming out on top there. So some exciting moments ahead, I'm sure. And the first of the partnerships is going to be for Belgium. It's a combination we saw with us in Stuttgart just recently. It is Jorinde Verwimp riding the 10-year-old gelding Shama by Shamir out of a Quattro D mare. Jorinde, who of course rode the great Tiamo that retired in 2019 at the Olympics in Rio in 2016, and rode a European Championships either side of that in 2015 and 2017. This horse stepped up into its first five-star show in Stuttgart, having started FEI competition last year. They have a personal best in the Grand Prix that came in Hagen, 70.043, but they only scored 67.217 last time out when they were with us in Stuttgart. So Sharma to get things underway as the FEI World Cup Grand Prix starts things off here. Good solid start. Let's bring a little bit more bend to the half pass. Certainly started with one of their best scores so far in Grand Prix competition. Maybe we needed to be a little bit more fluent with the halt and the rein back. Nice into the extended trot. Just maybe losing a little bit of rhythm in the middle of the piaffe. Huge improvements from what we saw in Stuttgart 2 weeks ago. A little bit with that last set of piaffe and the transitions. You can see just bringing the mark down a little as well. Need to keep again that fluency, that straightness, allow the frame to open up. A little mistake at the start of the flying changes in the two-time changes as well, so again, you can just see that beginning to have an impact on the overall mark. Nice extended canter. Solid movement down the centre line. Again, just mistakes in the changes, and they are awfully costly with the double score marks. Sit the pirouette back, not let it go too large. Much better in the right hand pirouette. Final centre line of movements. Well, we're underway with the Grand Prix test here at Madrid Horse Week for this FEI Dressage World Cup. The Grand Prix begins with Jorinde Verwimp there and Sharma, and having watched them just 2 weeks ago in Stuttgart, there was plenty of improvement over that test. It is, of course, always the errors that penalise your score the most, and there were no questions that there were problems in both of the tempo changes, both the one-time and the two-time changes, and that will inevitably, certainly with the one-times, had a big impact on their score. But there was a good, strong average at the start as well, and you could see, certainly in the first third of the test, the mark was cruising well over 70%, or over 70%, I should say, but inevitably just beginning to get impacted a little bit later on. So looking forward to the score for that. I remind you, last time out when they were with us, it was 67-217, and I'm hoping to see a little bit of an improvement this time around. In fact, here it is, and it is an improvement, and quite some percentage improvement as well. So as you can see across the judges, 69.457, 70.543, 67.174, 67.5 and 67.609. It gives us a total percentage score for the first to go of 68.457%. So huge improvement in many, many ways, and I'm sure when those mistakes just tidy up the changes, Chameau and Jorinde Verwimp for Belgium, they will just continue to rise and rise and rise. It is a horse with a huge amount of potential. We're going to move on because the bell already for Spain's Claudio Castilla Ruiz. This is Lario de Adama de Suelza. It's an 11-year-old stallion by Loxley, the second Hanoverian stallion. Claudio, who rode for Spain at the Olympics in 2016, in fact has ridden at numerous championships, rode a horse called Accolade. This ride, in fact, is only competing in its 5th Grand Prix test here today, and it's its very first 5-star show. Has scored 69% in Grand Prix. That came back in April in Portugal, but stepping up this year and beginning now at 5-star level. So this is Claudio Castilla Ruiz, Lario de Adama de Sousa. Already looking to be a very neat and tidy start. slightly better in the second one. Just not quite square with the halt. Nice extended trot. Again, a little bit of loss of rhythm, just struggling a little bit through the passage there and into the piaffe, and the piaffe's just sort of breaking, and the transition's inevitably affected as well there, so that could be quite a big loss in terms of marks, because the piaffe we know is a double score, but of course the transition element between the piaffe or the passage, piaffe passage, awarded as a separate movement, and with that mistake it will have taken, as you can see on the current score there, quite a hit. Really nice walk though. Again, it's that same set of movements, isn't it? It is, they come into the passage, but it's that change of pace, that movement into the piaffe, and the piaffe again just sort of create little half steps really. And they need to just be able to bring a bit more energy, a bit more rhythm, and then inevitably be able to just make that transition that little bit more fluid. Struggling a little bit there with that pirouette, unfortunately. Just changing behind, and inevitably again we're just going to see that impact slightly on the score. Again, the pirouettes, both double scores. Again, the Piaf, that's their one pace throughout the course of this entire test that has been the one element, and then the transition marks that come with it, that has really unfortunately let them down, because there was such good movement. When you think back to the extended trots, when you think back to the one-tone changes, really solid, and a horse that has really got so much potential. Let's go back to what I said at the start though. Their first 5-star Grand Prix test. So moving up the levels, moving up the standard, and you've got to begin somewhere. It's a rider, as we know. Claudio's got plenty of experience in the saddle. There isn't any question about that. He's a man that really does know where he's going, but he's producing another horse for the future here. And although 11, just coming on a little bit late now up to 5-star level, getting that opportunity, and I think there'll be plenty for the future. But when you look back, there was always going to be an impact on the scores when you've got those marks through now at E63 152, at H64 891, C62 826, M65 and B65 109, but unfortunately it is a final mark of 64 196, so 64 196 was a second to go. First was Spain, Claudio Castilla Ruiz there with La Rio de Adama de Souza, the Hanoverian stallion. Well, 2 have gone, but a long way to go. We've only seen Belgium and Spain, still riders to come from France, Canada, Belgium, of course, Netherlands, Germany, Brazil, all in the mix here in Madrid this afternoon. And of course tomorrow, freestyle, tomorrow afternoon, similar sort of time, we've got the freestyle, the points paying round for the FEI Dressage World Cup Western European League. And it'll be fascinating here because a couple of the riders are on the points table. I mean, Thamar for the Netherlands, we'll see a bit later. She is currently up there in 7th place, and perhaps the rider with the most opportunity to make a big move, a notable move on the table. But Helen Langehanenberg and Frederic Wandres will be both looking to try and make a move as well for the 2 German riders. But then there are plenty of others that can continue to build their totals as they all look to try to head to Omaha, to the finals in the USA, which will of course take place at the beginning of April next year, the FEI Dressage World Cup final, where Jessica von Wendel will look to defend the title that she won this year on Daleria BB. A phenomenal ride that of course came out with a score of over 90% in Lyon just recently. So just a short pause while we wait for the next to go. Just going to take a short pause for a moment.
Official score from Jorinde Verwimp of Belgium, 68.457. Compare that to the audience score of 67.994. As I say, you can also judge alongside, and there's lots to be gained by doing that. You can take the top 3 riders and get extra points there, comparing that to our judges. And lots of prizes to be had both through each of the stages, and potentially a big prize at the end of season of the FEI World Cup Series for those taking part, being the top scorers. So you can download the Spectator Judging app now from the App Store and Google Play. All part of the FEI Dressage World Cup Grand Prix Day, and then the freestyle tomorrow for those important points to those that will qualify through to the final. And that will be in April next year in Omaha, Nebraska, the USA.
Les recuerdo que pueden, si lo desean, descargarse esa app, Spectator Judging, seleccionando la opción IFEMA Madrid Horse Week para puntuar a los participantes que están compitiendo en este gran premio. También pueden predecir los 3 jinetes que ocuparán los 3 primeros puestos de la clasificación. Habrá premios al final de la temporada a los aficionados más activos y más acertados. Entre otras cosas, puede corresponder o pueden ganar un viaje para 2 personas a un futuro evento de la Copa del Mundo de Tokio. Recuerden, descargándose esa app, Spectator Judging, juzgando y puntuando a los participantes de este gran premio, y mañana también en la prueba, por supuesto, de la Copa del Mundo. una Copa del Mundo de la Liga Europea que ya ha arrancado, ya se ha iniciado. Vamos a tener 11 pruebas calificativas a lo largo de esta temporada. Les recuerdo también, mientras esperamos al siguiente participante, al cuarto, que después de esta prueba de la competición de Doma, trofeo Grupo Eulen, vamos a tener más competición de saltos, tendremos espectáculos. A las 7:30 de la tarde se disputará el trofeo Ciudad de Madrid, que es la prueba más importante de hoy de la competición de saltos 5 estrellas. A las 10 menos cuarto tendremos la competición de ponis, un pony tour. A las 10:30 tendremos un espectáculo, horsemen, personas saltando obstáculos de caballos. Y a las 11 menos cuarto cerraremos la jornada de hoy con una prueba siempre espectacular, el trofeo IFEMA, prueba de 6 barras, una competición en la que se va subiendo la altura de los obstáculos conforme los jinetes van superando rondas. Se suele terminar saltando muy grande. Esa será la última cita a partir de las 11 menos cuarto de esta noche.
And this is all part of the FEI Dressage World Cup Series. The European legs, already 7 of those completed, and this is the 4th of those so far this season. We started out in Denmark, in Aarhus, Lyon in France, Stuttgart in Germany just a couple of weeks ago, and then here to Madrid, upcoming just before Christmas at London, at the Excel Centre there. Over the Christmas period, just before New Year in Mechelen. Basel will stage a new stage there as well. Amsterdam, and then to Newminster, Gothenburg, and finally the last stage is Fuggenbosch in the Netherlands. So Sweden, Netherlands, Germany, all yet to stage their various sessions of the FEI World Cup Series. Great Britain will be the next of those on the agenda on the 15th and 16th of December, then Mechelen 26th to the 30th of December as well. So you can follow along there and get all the news as well through the FEI various social medias to follow for the FEI Dressage World Cup Series. But a very good lineup coming up for you, 14 in all, as we said, just losing the one out, with some stronger combinations coming through those that won previous stages, like Frederic Wandres. Really good start in America for the German rider this year. Helen Langehanenberg, who's also been a gold medalist for Germany before now in championships with Annabelle, to come in the latter part of the lineup. Morgan Barbancon, France, another regular here with Donald, another championship rider, and that will take us through a whole host of new talent through. And of course, for the home nation, the likes of Spain's Juan Matute Guimon will be going 6th.
You'll notice the combination there of Alexander Ayash and Jolene. Just was getting confirmation from our team down at the collecting ring. Will not be coming forward, so therefore we will move on in a moment or two, as Ayash has withdrawn. So that is at the moment 2 that have gone, Belgium and Spain, and France withdrawing. So Canada to come in a few moments' time, and then we'll continue, hopefully uninterrupted, all the way through to the finish of this FEI Dressage World Cup Grand Prix.
Madrid es la cuarta calificativa, después vendrán Londres, Malinas en Bélgica, Basilea, Ámsterdam, Newminster, para terminar en Gotemburgo y en Hertogenbosch en Países Bajos. Esas son las 11 pruebas calificativas de la Liga Europea de la Copa del Mundo.
Well, Madrid Horse Week, 10 years of equestrian sport. Of course, not only FEI Dressage, but FEI Jumping. It's a double header for the FEI World Cups here, with jumping on Sunday alongside the dressage here as well. So plenty of 5-star action to enjoy. And as we move on, the next is indeed ready to go, and it is going to be Statesman, the 15-year-old stallion by Sandra Hitt, ridden by Naima, Moreira, Laliberte. Canadian combination. Naima, who was part of the World Championship team, rode Statesman in Herning this year. That scored 68.385 in the Grand Prix test. A rider that's had plenty of experience coming through the youth levels in the sport as well. Was the North American Young Rider individual gold medalist back in 2015, took 7 North American youth medals, and was also part of the team at the Pan Am Games in 2019 that took the gold. As I say, rode in Herning at the World Championships this year, travelling reserve to Tokyo last year. They have a personal best in Grand Prix of 72.5%. It's a horse that she's been riding since 2018 and certainly has proven to be one of Canada's stars. Unfortunately, though, at the beginning there, just making their life a little bit difficult because just struggling a little bit with the immobility in that opening halt movement. Now, again, just needs to let the horse be a little bit more forward, get that ground cover in the extended trot movement. Second halt, just a little bit better than the first one, but again causing them a few problems. And you can see from the marks as they currently stand, just those little imperfections always having more than a little impact on the score. Travelling a little bit through the Piaf. Again, want a little bit more activity, just show a little bit more over track in the extended walk, better in the collected walk. You've got to set yourself up for that transition that comes off the corner, just perhaps a little bit early. It's one of the hardest because the horses just have that innate habit of trying to predict what's coming, because they've ridden this test of these movements on numerous times, and numerous times they just begin to have that little bit of tension that can creep in. A little bit more energy again into the passage. Keep that engagement through the Piaf, but good transition. Mistake 3, Strangers, beginning to lift the score again. Everything just seems to have settled down a little bit now. Just be a little bit more daring in the extended canter. Relatively solid through the changes and the half passes. Now into these one-time tempi changes. Looking solid and strong. Mistake free. Just need to make sure they keep this through the second of the pirouettes, because the first looked lovely. And very nice pirouettes. You can see this mark again, just beginning to edge back up from its starting point. They, at the moment, have pushed their mark, as you can see, above the current leading score. Really important to keep everything correct down this final line. Bring back the strength through the piaffe. Good energy on that final line as they come to a halt, and that's certainly solid at the finish. So Naima and Statesman certainly look to be trying to improve on what was a leading score of 68.457%. Their pirouettes particularly impressive, as were the one-time changes, certainly looking very strong, but it was a solid test. It was just those little moments which really came early on, and it was in the halts, which particularly the immobility sort of element of the halt, where I could see their mark just ebbing away. But apart from that, it was certainly a nice solid score heading their way. So perhaps, is it the new leading score? We will discover. Gives everyone an exceptional chance to be prepared for tomorrow. One heading out, one heading in, because you can already see the next one is coming forward as well. We're just waiting for those marks to be confirmed across our panel of 5 judges. Spain are next to go. Getting the score, I think they might be. Here it comes for Canada. It is at E 70.326, at H 67.391. A little bit of a difference there. C 68.084, M 68.696, and at V 69.022. It is a new leading score, so 68.848%. Always going to be a small difference between judges because they all watch it from a different angle, a different position, and always going to gain a slightly different perspective. But a good, strong performance from Naima Laliberte there to set the new standard, 68.848. So we move on, because this is Spain. Teia, Hernandez, Vila, Romeo de Trujillo. The next of the Spanish challengers. This is an 11-year-old stallion by Garcia. Again, this is a horse that's not done a huge number of Grand Prix tests. Went well in Madrid, but it was in the 4-star show in October. They finished 4th in the freestyle. They have a personal best in Grand Prix, 71.565. That came in Jerez in March. It's a horse that she's produced, of course, rode at the World Championships on this horse as well this year in Herning, scoring 69.596 in the Grand Prix test. Well, if they can repeat their World Championship performance here today, they'll move up to the top, and it looks, from what we've just seen, to be a impressive start. Certainly much tidier, neater than we have seen so far. Solid rein back. Maybe just needs to open the frame a little more. Hitting all the beats at the moment. Keeping that score up and over 70%. Again, very solid in the passage, the piaffe through the transition. Just needs to make sure they just keep it even, regular through the piaffe. Again, we're looking for freedom, we're looking for ground cover. Over-tracking in that extended walk. Looked to be a really nice transition there in from the collected walk to the passage, and of course there is a transition mark there. A little bit slow behind in the passage, you can see from that angle. And then through the piaffe, they again look solid. So they'll have put up again good marks. Unfortunately, they had a little mistake in the two-time changes back at the beginning, the second change, and that will, as you can see, also have an impact on their mark. Instead of getting the sevens, at least you're going to suddenly you just end up finding yourselves with fours and fives that you could well do without. It's still a very strong performance from these two, though, relative to their level and where they are. Now we come round to the one-time changes again. Then, of course, we saw that other mistake in the last change coming down the centre line. Just need to try. And again, though, mistakes in the one-time changes, and it's those changes that are causing them the issues in this test, and it's allowing the score just to creep back towards what could have otherwise been a new leading score. Not to say it won't be. There's quite a long way to come back now. That pirouette, they just, again, just losing the fluency a little bit. Lovely angle to be able to watch them dance upon the centre line. What a solid test for the pair of them, from Teia Hernandez, Vila and Romero to Trujillo. The only point to which they have sort of, I feel, dropped below that 70% mark is in the changes, because if you go back to the two-time changes, there were mistakes. If you go back to the tempi changes, there were mistakes. And, of course, there was a mistake at the end with the half passes and the flying change of leg. So, those elements all carrying double collectives, double coefficients, it does start to just dig away at that 70% mark. And, in fact, I think we're going to see it come up now. 67,065, 68,587, 69,022, 67,174 and 67,935. So into third, 67.957%. Dressage is such a test of horse and riders being able to work together, and we fully understand and respect just the immense amount of work, the time, the effort that goes into training these horses through the years to bring them up to Grand Prix level. It is far from the work of a moment, and it is awe-inspiring at this level to be able to enjoy the performances that these partnerships put on. This is a man with a smile, at least. Juan Guimon riding Quantico, the 16-year-old gelding. This is a ride that has been to the World Cup final in Leipzig this year. They finished 13th. Together, they rode at the World Championships in the Games in 2018. In fact, if you go back to 2017, Juan, with this horse, took the individual bronze medal at the under-25 Euros. He himself, when he was in youth levels, when he was in juniors back in 2015, won the individual gold at the Europeans on Dani Llamas. He's a very talented young Spanish dressage rider. He finished third here with Quantico in Madrid last year in the World Cup round, that he started this year off with a second place out in Wellington. His Quantico ride will be an impressive horse to see in the freestyle tomorrow, but how will it be in the Grand Prix here today? Well, watching on. Again, it's a solid start. Just needs to watch the neck doesn't get a little bit too short. Needs to watch they don't rush that. So into the passage, they perhaps wanted a bit more risk in that extended trot. They're just a little bit short. Again, perhaps just the impression that this particular horse gives. Back out into the passage. Keep everything nice and regular. Still, at the moment, the strongest score so far. Using a little bit of fluency again in the piaffe. It's been one of those tests so far where they've been able to hit the mark, perform their movements, but they could just do with bringing a little bit more to the table. There's just a little few moments where you can see, and it's reflected in the mark, where they haven't just been able to keep the 7.5s as an average, and you can see at 67.3 that it'll be the 6.5s, the 6s that will be too many of them muddled in. But there haven't really been any overall mistakes, and those are what could really drag the score down. So at the moment, putting in consistent showing here, Juan Guimon. Just wanting to get that frame just to open up a little bit more. The neck just gets shorter and shorter. Again, just the neck shortening up a little bit. Just want to allow the horse just to stretch and open its body, open that frame up. Lovely squared halt to finish it off though. Look at that. That'll pick up a mark or two, I'm sure. Of course, you'll also have the general impression marks come beyond it, but a lovely halt to finish off. And again, what to me looked very consistent towards the end of the test. And throughout the course of that test, I don't think there were any real mistakes. It was more to a case just that sort of just the shortness of the neck just meant that the horse always just looking a little bit tight in places, and I think that is something through all of the movements that will inevitably just have had a little bit of a drag on some of the scores with the judges, because you can see with the way that percentage was cruising, the average percentage. In fact, here is the mark. Let's not worry about that for a minute. Here is the mark. Juan Matute, Guimon has gone into second place, 68.152, 71.413, 67.283, 67.5 and 69.130. So different judges, different places, but ultimately 68.696 goes into second place, and getting pretty close, isn't it? Canada leading the way though, with Naima, Moreira, Laliberte, and now Juan Guimon in second, Jorinde Verwimp in third, it is Canada, Spain and Belgium. 1, 2, 3. With Spain next up, because this is the turn of Jose Antonio Garcia Mena, riding with Sorrento. It's a 15-year-old gelding by Sandro Bido out of a Florence Star mare. Jose, who rode both of the World Championships last year and this year, I meant to say also rode in Tokyo last year, and the Europeans. That was on a horse called Divino Royal. Some good rides in his career. Notre Moreira was his double World Championship, double European Championship ride back in sort of between 2010 and 2015. Sorrento, who finished second in the freestyle in Aachen this year as a personal best in Aachen from last year in the freestyle. We'll come to that tomorrow, but they have a Grand Prix personal best, a 72.587. So can they match that today? What is their first ever FBI Dressage World Cup round together over these 2 days? So Jose Antonio Garcia Mena here, and this, as I said, is Sorrento. Nice fluid movements, keeping the horse forward, showing good energy. Certainly look to be the best half pass we've seen to date. It's just hard to tell from there if they're actually square. Forward into the extended trot. Just need to be a little bit careful, keep the fluency through that set of movements. Certainly looking fluid in the extended trot though. Certainly floating their way down to the passage. To watch the passage, that they just to make sure they keep things nice and even, certainly behind the hocks. Just getting, if they start to get a little tense, it can again just have a little bit of an impact on your score. Certainly at the moment though, the strongest of the tests we've seen. Some really impressive moments, certainly enjoying the walk. Horse just lifting its head a little bit in the collected walk. Now round to the two-time changes. Counter work is good. Again, looks solid with the half passes, the 5 of them, the change of leg. Really big movement down the centre line. So much to get right, so easy to get something wrong. But that is the thing at the moment. Nothing specifically that really looks to have gone awry for these two. Lost the balance a little bit in that final pirouette, but now another chance to show off this lovely trot that these two can bring together. Certainly very expressive. Again, watch the balance a little bit through the extended. Lost it a little bit at the end. Now down this final centre line. Such an important moment. Again, just perhaps the weaker part of that line, swaying a little bit, but certainly the transitions look good. Well, in my mind it looks solid. In my mind there are always areas you will want to improve upon, but of what we have seen in this opening half of the FEI Dressage World Cup, that perhaps the strongest of the tests so far. Certainly had some of the high points. Inevitably there are always moments. Whether it gets through that 70% mark, I don't think it quite will. But it is our judges that are giving out the marks. So that, of course, was Sorrento. That was Jose Antonio Garcia Mena, and it is a new leading score. At E 68.696, at H 69.348, at C 69.348, identical. Look at the difference. Identical marks, but different places where they put them in the order. 68.696 and 70.652. So 69.348 is a new leading score, and it moves Spain to the top of the leaderboard at this halfway point. So Jose Antonio Garcia Mena leading, Naima Moreira sitting in second, and Juan Guimon is currently in third. There is the order, there are the scores. But 69.348 leads the FEI Dressage World Cup here in Madrid. We take a short break and we come back with the second half of this Grand Prix competition in a few minutes' time. Not long, just a short break.
Segunda posición para Naima Moreira, tercera posición para Juan, Matute, Guimon, cuarta posición para Jorinde Verwimp, quinta posición para Teia, Hernandez, Mena. Vamos a hacer una brevísima parada, apenas 4 minutos, y reiniciamos la competición con la actuación del siguiente participante, representante de Bélgica. Trofeo Grupo Eulen, toma el IFEMA Madrid 2000. Reanudamos la competición, trofeo Grupo Eulen, prueba que lidera el español José Antonio García Mena con 69.348. Ya tenemos en pista el siguiente participante.
Welcome back. It is time for the second half of the FEI Dressage World Cup. The Grand Prix here is underway and we are halfway through. So, as you can see, we look to restart proceedings with a current leading score from Spain's Jose Antonio Garcia Mena of 69.348, and Belgium and Edison the ride here to restart things. It is Laurence Vanommeslaghe riding here with a 13-year-old gelding by Johnson. And Laurence, who rode at the World Games back in 2014 and 15. And this is Avec Plaisir. Based in Paris, world number 34, the partnership here. Rode in Lyon. He finished 8th in the Grand Prix that day, scoring 72.043 in that leg of the Western European League. And in fact, their personal best is 72.630 in Grand Prix competition. And that came in Aachen in the 4-star where they finished 3rd. But what an unfortunate way to get things started, because the difficulties at the beginning, as we all saw, just meant that loss of control will have lost them a significant portion of their marks, and that is the sort of feeling that you get when your heart just sinks, because it is such a difficult position to recover from. Which brings a little bit of tension into everything else that follows it. Just getting a little short again in the neck. Just need to keep the fluency through the halt and the rein back. Looking better, more relaxed into the extended trot. issues there with the mistakes in the one-time tempi changes. Good first pirouette to the left. Well, there we have it. It is unfortunately just those few times through the test where things just broke down, and if you go all the way back to the start, of course, the major problems on the in were where the marks will have really fallen away, and a partnership that on their day can really bring a very good Grand Prix test to bear, as we saw back in Arcad in the summer. But there we have it. It is.
En un instante conoceremos la puntuación de esta zona belga y mientras la vamos conociendo les presento al siguiente participante, otro jinete español con un currículum verdaderamente impresionante.
The test there for Laurence Vanommeslaghe. That means their marks are in. At E 68.804, at H 64.891, at C 66.413, at M 64.891, and at B 69.022. So it is 66.804 as we get back underway. They go into 6th place there for Belgium. It means 1 from the final 7 gone, leaving us 6 more to go. Riders for Spain, for Germany, for the Netherlands, for France, and for Brazil, all left in the mix. This is, in fact, Spain's final chance, or final partnership, perhaps is a better way to put it, because Spain currently leading the way with Jose Antonio Garcia Mena from before the break. This is Juan Antonio Jimenez Cobo riding Ruiz Moore. The 13-year-old stallion, Barbancon. A personal best in Grand Prix of 72.978%. They have competed on numerous occasions here before. Of course, in Madrid, they finished 9th here last year. And Juan, one of the most decorated of Spanish dressage riders, Olympic team silver in Athens back in 2004, and of course was also a medalist in the World Games in Jerez back to team bronze back in 2002, and also European team bronze. That was on a horse called Guizo. Now though, here with Ruiz Moore. to ensure they just keep the regularity in the passage, and again just maybe keep things a little bit more on the spot, keep the Piaf from travelling, but keeping a regular beat. Plenty to like again. It certainly moved their mark into a more solid position, but it does just come down to a little bit of fluency. Just need to ensure they're precise in their movements. Solid through those one-time changes. Just to watch the pirouette doesn't just get a little bit too large, just keep it a little bit more centered. Pirouette again that time as well. They sort of start a little bit on the big side. I have to say, despite any little issues that have occurred during this test, and it's been again one of those tests where we haven't seen any dramatic mistakes, but there's just not been everything they need in each of the movements, and that overall has just kept the score a little bit lower than we know these two can produce. But at the end of it all, it is a mark that is not far away from the leader, but it is getting very tight at the top, and you can see the delight on Juan Antonio Hernandez's face, and that is certainly well earned and certainly well deserved, and potentially I think that should move them close towards the top three tests I think we've seen here today. And of course Spain leading at the moment, so another good chance with that ride, which of course just leaves us now 5 more tests to come forward. Juan Antonio Jimenez Corredor there, and Leads Moi just wrapping up here at Madrid Horse Week. There it is, and it is into third. E65 652, H69 239, C69 348, M69 239, and B70.543. And you look at that, 2 of the judges had him in the lead. Differences at E, but of course it comes back to where they are sat. Every judge getting that slightly different perspective, and that is what is key to giving you a correct overall mark. So, as we look at it, the score is 804 to be correct, goes into third. It means that still Spain are leading the way, with Jose Antonio Garcia Mena though on a total score of 69.348. As next to go, it is of course the lady that won the freestyle here 12 months ago when she took the honours in the Madrid round of the FEI Dressage World Cup. It is for Germany now, Helen Langehanenberg with the 14-year-old mare Annabelle. Helen, of course, who had that amazing horse in her career, Damon Hill NRW, that was, of course, such a super ride. World Cup final winner, Olympic medals, World Championship medals, European medals. She's won golds and silvers individually and team across every major championship. Annabelle, though, was the ride that she took to the World Cup final in Leipzig to finish in 6th place this year. And, of course, took the top spot here in Madrid last year in the freestyle with a score of 80.5. We saw them in Wilhelmsburg. They finished in 6th in the opening leg of this season. It is a combination with a personal best in Grand Prix of 457. So certainly, when you look at it on paper, a partnership that had pressure to do well today. This is a combination that have come once more to Madrid, a happy hunting ground, to potentially put themselves in a good position tomorrow to go for the maximum points on that Western European League. I should, though, reference that back as we see a really strong start. Look at this. Last year in the Grand Prix, they actually finished 3rd, and then it all turned round. All turned round in the freestyle. But a beautiful start from these two. Lovely Holstein mare. And immediately, it's that step change. It's that difference. It isn't much, but it's enough. Still need to ensure they just bring enough rhythm and impulsion into the half-pass movements. A test to enjoy, a test to savour. You can see the current score. She's certainly been able to bring some much stronger marks to the table. It's just the weakest pace being the extended walk. Just need to ensure the horse just creates enough overtrack, just continues in that contact. Better through the collected walk, just a little bit of resistance into that transition. I'm sure will affect their mark. This is such a point in the test where the horse begins to predict what is about to happen. And again, you could just see that a little bit from the passage into the Piaffe. There was just that problem towards the end of the 2 times, but now relaxing again into this extended canter, and it is a horse that really can show some wonderful quality in the canter. Had that little sort of first change was a little bit tight behind, but apart from that the 1 times were strong. Now through the pirouettes, and again good, keeping them centered, getting the horse to lift in front. Quite as strong as the first one. Use the legs a little bit there in the Piaffe, as you can see. Always a joy to watch. Amazing how still, how elegant, how controlled these dressage riders look. Minimal of work, obvious. Maximum of effort is being undertaken. Very, very strong finish as well, I would suggest. And that certainly shows the step change from what we have seen so far with Helen Langehanenberg for Germany, with Annabelle putting in a beautiful performance here in the FEI Grand Prix, the FEI World Cup Dressage here at Madrid Horse Week. And despite just a little bit of an issue in the 2-time changes, had a little tiny little issue at the beginning of the 1-time changes. The only other time you could really suggest there was any sort of issue was in the transition in from the walk to the passage. Beyond that, everything else was as strong as we've come to get used to from those two, and delighted to be able to see them, I am sure, set the standard here. Now, whether it is getting close to a best, we will wait to find out, but it was strong. What it may have been, look at that. Even with those couple of little moments, they still set a really strong marker. E70.978, 872.826, C71.848, M72.283, and at B72.065. There is no disagreement. They all have a first. It is 72% as a score. Well, whether that is enough to better her performance in the Grand Prix last year, it was the freestyle that she took the best or the top spot in, but a very strong Grand Prix. Because this man, last time here in Madrid, won the Grand Prix. In fact, it was such a reversal once we got into the freestyle on the Sunday, because he ended up finishing 4th. It was a different horse, though, for Frederic Wandres. He came here last year with Bluetooth. Bluetooth was the horse that he rode in Stuttgart on home soil just 2 weeks ago, where he finished in 4th place. This is his superstar ride. This is Duke of Britain. This is the gelding, the 15-year-old by DiMaggio, that took him to the World Championship Team Bronze this year. His debut for Germany at the World Championships. It was his first championship appearance. This ride, a horse that last year was 3rd in London and in Lyon. It's a former winner of the likes of London in the past. In Grand Prix competition, this year in Aachen, these two scored 77.217. That is their personal best. They've had 8 top 3 finishes in freestyle World Cup classes together. It is a mighty combination, and you can already see from what we're watching and by looking at those trending scores as well, that this is another very, very strong start. The full 5 steps back as well, really fluent through the transition. No question the best we've seen so far. Absolutely beautiful in the Piaffe. This is a horse enjoying itself. This is a rider and a horse combination that have complete understanding of each other. Lovely walk. You can see the adjustment into the collected walk. Bending the horse just a little bit to the outside so that it doesn't preempt the transition into the passage. Lovely transitions between the paces in the passage, the Piaffe passage. Faultless through the 2-time changes. Again, really nice extended canter, showing risk. It's the precision of the movements as well that is so impressive. They keep the rhythm every single stride. Amazing on the one-time changes as well there. Now down the centre line for the pirouette movements. Just losing a tiny little bit of impulsion coming out, but now to the change and now to the right. Far the strongest of all the marks, but it is a test that has been rewarded in every single step for what it has showed us. Again, lovely through the trot movements. This is a horse that is absolutely at the top of its game. It is a horse and rider that for a good number of years we have seen performing at the top level of this sport. But it is a horse and rider that continue to show that they are only on an uphill and an upward trajectory. Well, Madrid saw them do that last year when they won the Grand Prix. Madrid have seen them do it again this year, and that was outstanding from Frederic Wandres and Duke of Britain FRH. Clearly strong, and the strongest of those that we have been able to see in this Grand Prix test so far. So look at that, absolutely stunning marks. 78,587, 75,978, 77,065, 76,848 and 77,283. It is 77.152%. They have gone 5 percentage marks clear of second place with that test. It is absolute brilliance from Frederic Wandres, Duke of Britain FR8, Germany 1 and 2, Spain now in third, as Frederic leads from Helen Langehanenberg and Jose Antonio Garcia Mena. But there are still 3 to go, and I have a sneaking suspicion that could well be the best of the day. But you never know in this sport. Performances at the top level can sometimes surprise. But the result from Frederic there, as I said, he won it on Bluetooth last year. Different horse brings Duke of Britain this year, but at the moment it's the same outcome. Next to go is the Netherlands, Thamar Zweistra, who at the moment, in fact, of all the riders here, is the best placed of those on the Western European League, the Dutch rider. And this ride is Hexagon's Vis. It's a 9-year-old, this stallion, by Hexagon's Riquel. And, of course, Thamar, who rode at the World Championships and also the World Cup final with this horse earlier this year. She finished 11th at the World Cup final in Leipzig. Had a very, very good win in Budapest, and of course those scores, one of the counting scores towards the Western European League from the other leagues, so was certainly kept her in good stead in 7th overall, because she also Again, struggling a little bit. You can see the difference there in the halt and in the rainback, just losing a little bit of the fluency. And it's such an important part. Now we come out through these trot movements, and now we get to see them for the first time in the passage and then into the piaffe. Such a huge amount of energy, huge amount of effort required. Lovely transition though from passage, piaffe, passage. The piaffe, certainly one of their stronger paces. Now down into the walk. Beautiful extended walk, just keeping nice and relaxed in the walk, which is lovely to see. And again, strong in the collected walk. Didn't look to predict the change either. Kept it nice and fluent from the collected walk into the passage. Just struggling a little bit there in the piaffe. You can see her just having to put her leg on, just lost a little bit of the impulsion. Lovely two-time changes there, really nice to watch. You can see how that's all getting rewarded in that trending mark at the moment. The step change to what we were just watching with Frederic Wandres, significant, but nevertheless, of course, this at the moment is very much in contention for second, ahead of Helen Langehanenberg. 72% is the mark she needs to get to. Unfortunately, just a little bit of an issue in the change a moment back. But again, looking good with the double coefficient marks down the centre line. Very nice through the tempi one-time changes. Again, good strong pirouette, kept it nice and centered, allowing the horse to travel round. Really nice as well to the right. That mark is getting certain. But very much on target here to go up into the top two for the Dutch star. Thamar looking brilliant with that super 9-year-old. Hexagons, Ishivis, the combination then for the Netherlands here in Spain, in Madrid Horse Week, putting in a really nice test. Excited to see the score. Will it be enough? I think it'll be close, and I get the feeling as well won't be quite a personal best. As I said, that was 73, didn't I? That was 73, 174. That came in Lyon, so they might be down a little bit on that, but strong showing for the pair of them. So Thamar certainly putting her marker down ahead of the freestyle competition here tomorrow at Madrid Horse Week. Of course, points paying round tomorrow. Still 2 more to go in the Grand Prix. Huge applause. Lovely atmosphere here in the Spanish capital. It's an amazing place. And there's the marks, and there we have it at E71.522, at H72.609, at C72.935, at M73.152, and at B72.174. It is a total of 72.478%, and it is clearly by 0.478% into second place for Thamar Zweistra and Hexagons Ishivis. So 2 to go, and it is now Germany, the Netherlands, and Germany, the 1, 2, 3, with France and Brazil left to go. And it is France now. Morgan Barbancon, of course, Morgan, as I said earlier, she started off riding for Spain when she rode at those championships, the Olympics. She had painted black, didn't she, when she rode in London in 2012 and the World Games in 2014. Of course, very much though, having become a French citizen, riding under the French flag, very at home as a French international. Her ride here, of course, is Sir Donahall, the second OLD. It was a very experienced 16-year-old stallion by Sandro Hitt. It was her Tokyo ride, her ride in Herning at the World Championships. And of course, it's a ride that has taken her to 3 World Cup finals. They were 6th together in the freestyle in Lyon. Last year, they were 5th here, in fact, in Madrid. Their Grand Prix personal best, from what I understand, is 73.370%. This then is Sir Donahall, the second OLD. This is Morgan Barbancon. Oh, this is a phenomenal competition. This is another very strong start. And although I have a feeling they're all going to struggle to topple Frederic, the battle for second is nowhere near done. And if this can continue, I would even suggest we'll see, because this looks really nice. You can see the marks in the current compared to the leader, 74.750. Of course, that is based on the current position within the test against the leading score. And at the moment, just needs to be a little bit more fluent. Just there in the rein back, you could just see they just rushed it a little bit. Just ended up dragging their feet slightly. One of those days where every single mark you can afford, you can score, is counting towards a position here. Lovely passage movement, that engagement. Just struggle maybe a little bit in the piaffe. walk movement there, just losing a little bit of the connection in both the extended walk and in the collected walk, and I have a feeling that there's just been, again, just brings the mark down slightly. Started off so strongly, of course, has just dipped ever so slightly, and doing that, you can see the consistency of Frederic holding the top score still. The pirouette's certainly looking strong, and again the mark is still potentially good enough to see them somewhere maybe into the top 4, but so close to the top 3. Will it be enough for Morgan Barbancon? Morgan and Sir Donald, the second OLD, the penultimate partnership. There is so much potential with those two, and it is all there. It just, on occasions, just slipped in a few little areas. The halt early on, the PF a little bit as well. And then, of course, perhaps it is just those moments that ultimately, as we know, just chip away with certainly some really strong parts as well. But Morgan Barbancon there, I still think could make it into the top 3. We were watching that mark just trending, and then when those final marks, of course, the mark leaves the graphic leaves the screen, but the mark continues until we see it here, and it is into 3rd. Oh, brilliant for her. It is E71.848 at H74.565, C70.326 at N71.304 and B72.935. There you have it, 72 0.196. It puts her ahead of Helen Langehanenberg and Annabelle, and she slots in behind Frederic Wandres and Thamar Zweistra. So now it is Germany, the Netherlands and France, but there is still one more rider, one more horse and one more nation left to go, because it is Brazil. Joao, Victor, Marie, Oliva riding Escroil. Horse Campeline, the 13-year-old stallion by Spartacus. Joao, who has 2 individual bronze medals from Pan Am Games. He's an individual gold medalist at the South American Championships. He has ridden at 2 Olympic Games. He has ridden at the World Cup final. He has ridden at 3 World Championships. He is an extraordinary rider. And this is his ride from Tokyo and also from Herning. Herning, in fact, in the Grand Prix this year, he scored 72.112. It is far from done here today. His Grand Prix personal best is as high as 74. So maybe the lead will not adjust. Just struggling here to come down that centre line, unfortunately. And I have a feeling that just all looked a little bit tense, or maybe it was just the camera angle. No, it wasn't the camera angle. So, again, it's a recovery ride from that opening movement. Well, lovely half passes. This is a partnership that has certainly got a huge amount of talent in their locker book, and that was lovely as well. Just maybe wanted to be a little bit more fluent. They're perhaps just a little bit hasty in their steps in the rein back. Beautiful piaffe. Really, really lovely. If not the best we've seen of the day. Again, the transition's very smooth. My heart goes out to them for what happened at the beginning of this test, because there is no reason to think that this could not have, well, been a new, as I say, they're chasing a personal best to 74% today, and they've certainly put elements of this test very, very much within aim of that. And they just have these little moments, like they're in the extended walk. They just need to relax a little bit more. Say the piaffe, this horse is a real party trick. It is a real crowd pleaser, judge pleaser, would presume as well, but it's certainly a horse that finds it so easy. It's just those other little mistakes that have crept in that very consistent, very, again, precise. Maybe lacking a little bit of the sparkle, maybe a little conservative at points. But not in those passage movements, not in those piaffe movements especially. Showing consistency. On the extended movement. Down the centre line for one final time, and another chance to just lift that score a little higher. It's very close. Well, it's on the 70% at the moment, but the chance again to show us some of those great piaffes. It is a horse that can do it with its eyes closed. His piaffes are absolutely spellbinding. Wow. The last to go in the Grand Prix, Joao Victor, Marcari, Oliva, Escruel, Hoscampalin. What had that horrible entrance at the beginning. There are moments in that test that are, as I said, they leave you spellbound. They are absolutely phenomenal at the piaffe. There are other points in that test which are really strong. There are other moments in that test like the walk and rain back, which just, of course, always hamper you when you have those little issues. Plenty of consistency. And a mark that is, I would hope, from their side, well, a comfortable 70+% score. As there it is, 71.630. The marks across the judges, 73.043, 70, 72.061, 70.652, 72.3. So it is 71.630 for Joao Victor, Marcari, Oliva as the last to go, which of course ensures that it is Germany that win the FEI Dressage World Cup, the Grand Prix round, the freestyle and the points paid tomorrow. But he did it 12 months ago on Bluetooth. He does it again in 2022, this time with Duke of Britain. It is absolute domination. A test that was clear. It was way and above the standard we saw from all of the others, and it is reflected in the mark. Frederic Wandres wins 77.152. Thamar Zweistra for the Dutch. Hexagons Ruiz finishes in second, and Morgan Babato O'Donoghue, the second OLD, takes third. Helen Langehanenberg, who in fact was third in the Grand Prix last year, won the freestyle here last year. Will that happen again? And that we will wait to find out. She finishes there in fourth. Joao Victor Marisi Oliva finishes in fifth, ahead of Jose Antonio Garcia Mena, the young rider there for Spain. The rest of the Spanish riders claiming sixth place. Some really nice combinations, plenty with great future, plenty with great talent, plenty for us to get excited about looking ahead to the freestyle tomorrow here in Madrid. Of course, still to come today, we've got top class 5-star jumping. Phil Gonzalo will take you through that a little bit later on here this evening. We, of course, will concentrate on dressage, though, here tomorrow with the excitement of more to come from the freestyle. Always a big day on the Saturday, and just for your information, 4:15 local time here in Madrid to start the FEI Dressage World Cup, the freestyle here tomorrow. Show jumping underway again here this evening at 7:30. In the meantime, from me, Gareth Jenkins, thank you for being with me, and I will catch up with you later here on Clip My Horse TV.
Arrancamos de aquí esta ceremonia habitual en los concursos de doma. Está entrando a la pista el octavo clasificado, el segundo mejor jinete español en este trofeo Grupo Eulen montado al Prix. Ese aplauso para Juan Antonio Jiménez Cobo. Séptima posición, Amazona de Canadá montando a Statesman. El aplauso de Madrid para Naima Moreira. Entrando en la pista el sexto clasificado, el mejor jinete español, montando a Sorento. El aplauso para José Antonio Garcia Mena. Salió el último, ha estado entre los 5 mejores de la clasificación montando a Escorial Horse Line. El aplauso para el brasileño Joao Víctor Marcari. Y ahí tenemos a la cuarta clasificada. El año pasado terminó cuarta en este Gran Premio y acaba ganando la Copa del Mundo. Está en la pista montando a navegar. El aplauso para Helen Langehanenberg. Hemos visto a los jinetes clasificados del cuarto al octavo puesto. Helen Langehanenberg, Joao Víctor Marcari, José Antonio García Mena, Naima Moreira y Juan Antonio Jiménez Cobo. Y ahora, ya en un instante, la ceremonia de entrega de premios con los 3 primeros clasificados. Pues ya tenemos a los 3 primeros clasificados de este trofeo Grupo Eulen. Prueba que se marcha otra vez para Alemania. Prueba que se lleva otra vez el mismo jinete que ganó el año pasado esta misma competición. En este caso, montando a Duke of Britain, es uno de los grandes de la épica de su país. De hecho, este año ha representado a Alemania en el Campeonato del Mundo. Lo que no es nada fácil, por favor, un fuerte aplauso para el ganador, Frederic Wandres. En honor del vencedor, les ruego se pongan de pie para escuchar las notas del himno nacional de Alemania. Ganó en 2021, vuelve a ganar en 2022. favoritos montando a Duke of Britain, Frederic Wandres, el alemán, va a recibir el trofeo como vencedor de esta prueba, trofeo Grupo Eulen, de manos de doña María José Álvarez, presidente ejecutivo del Grupo Eulen. La felicitación de María José Álvarez y el trofeo, esa bandeja como ganador de este trofeo Grupo Eulen para el jinete alemán Frederic Wandres. Segunda posición en la prueba, las felicitaciones para el ganador de doña Helke Ebert, juez C, uno de los jueces que han juzgado esta competición, este trofeo Grupo Eulen. Ahí está saludando la jueza alemana a su compatriota, al ganador de la prueba, a Frederic Wandres, y posando para la foto junto a la presidenta ejecutiva del Grupo Eulen, María José Álvarez. Tras la entrega del trofeo y las felicitaciones, vamos ahora sí con la segunda clasificada, amazona neerlandesa, que ha hecho una espléndida prueba, que ya venía de ganar este año la Copa del Mundo de Budapest, montando a ese joven y prometedor, maravilloso caballo Hexagon Sin Vice. El aplauso, por favor, para Thamar Zweistra. Don Daniel Entrecanales, presidente del comité organizador de IFEMA Madrid Horse Week, entrega la placa a la amazona neerlandesa con el caballo más joven de toda la competición. Y la tercera clasificada, una habitual aquí en IFEMA Madrid Horse Week, vuelve a estar en una entrega de premios, montando a Sir Donner Hall. El aplauso, por favor, para Morgan Barbancon. Don Álvaro Areta, presidente de Ocean Sport, entrega la placa a la amazona, representante de Francia, con este caballo con el que tantísimos éxitos ha conseguido en su carrera deportiva. Bueno, pues hemos entregado ya los premios, hemos felicitado a los tres mejores. Cerremos, como se merece, esta entrega de premios con la vuelta de honor de los tres principales protagonistas de la prueba. Pues aquí cerramos este trofeo Grupo Eulen, competición de doma, y en unos minutos volverá la competición de saltos. A las 7:30 arranca el trofeo Ciudad de Madrid, prueba del Internacional 5 estrellas, posteriormente carreras de ponis, un espectáculo horseman, y cerraremos a partir de las 11 menos cuarto con la prueba de 6 barras trofeo IFEMA.
Guimon transformas el diferente en evidente. Con pasión, con deportividad, con ilusión. En Marca sabemos que hay tantas maneras de vivirlo como personas. Por eso buscamos los puntos de vista más diferentes, para contártelos todos y que los vivas a tu manera. Marca, el deporte que se ve y se vive.
Bucket lists. Everybody's got one. But have you ever wondered who writes such a bucket list? It's the soul. Put the list in your pocket and your seatbelt on. The new Taycan Cross Turismo. Soul electrified.
Llenamos de contenidos todo. Y tú decides disfrutarlos. O soñarlos en asientos cama. Te damos acceso directo al pasillo y tú decides máxima privacidad y confort. Llevamos más alto en nuestra clase business y tú decides volar con nosotros. O no. Pero un consejo. Decide llegar tan lejos como quieras en la nueva clase business. En Europa, tú decides.
Life moves forward to the beat of decisions. At AIM, we see a world increasingly impacted by the choices we make. That's why we shape decisions that protect and grow communities so we can all achieve our full potential. Our job is to provide clarity and confidence to every AIM client, making them better informed, better advised, and able to make better decisions for whatever the world needs next. AIM is in the business of better decisions.
Garcia.